All right, any changes to the agenda?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone want to make a motion?
Motion to approve agenda?
Motion by Councilmember Timmerman,
Second.
second by Councilmember Seepersod. All in favor?
Aye.
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 John, how do you feel about this? Or did you say aye and I missed it?
Sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry. I just want to call you out on something. No that's right. No presentations or anything like that? Public comment? Patrick, you want to talk under public comment at all?
Hello.
All right. All right, I'll close public comment. Consent agenda, any questions on the consent or any concerns? Anyone need to pull anything?
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Motion by Timmerman,
Second.
second by Jean Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. No public hearings, no general business, so on to reports. Administration.
Yep, under administration, we're simply asking the council to appoint interview panels for the commissions. Standard practice in the past has been the staff liaison for that particular commission, the chair of that commission, if the chair is not one of the people who's up for appointment, and then a member of the council. In this case, if it might be most efficient to just have one appointee for both commissions, we could do interviews all on the same night, those types of efficiencies, but if the council wants to have a different appointee to each panel, that would be fine too.
Okay, so you need a name.
We need a name.
An idea when those will happen?
It'll be, they're currently posted. I think the posting runs through
Through March 28th.
the end of the month, and then we'll be, the interviews at that point will really be dependent upon the availability of the panel.
But in April sometime.
Yeah, early April.
I'd be willing to do it.
Anyone object to that?
Okay.
All right. Tom, you're up again.
We need an appointee to the fire district work group. With the fire district work group, historically, the city representative was myself. Todd, as the chief, was there for operational purposes. That did create some difficulties over time because I was both supposed to be facilitating the conversations and also serving as the city's representative. And when you start getting into contract discussions and things like that, that dual role gets to be a little bit difficult. And so the council made a decision a couple years ago to have a council member serve as the rep on the fire district work group, and that would allow me to serve in the role as the facilitator for the discussions and as that staff liaison role. Former Mayor Crawford served in that capacity up until obviously the end of the year, so we would need to have a new representative so that I can get those meetings scheduled for the upcoming year.
I would love to do it.
Anyone object? No. All right. Anything else, Tom?
I have nothing. Oh, I do under police, so.
Okay. Public Works gave the reports. Anyone have anything they wanted to talk about on that? Police.
There's the report from Craig. Craig's not here tonight. He had a family thing going on. But I did want to let the council know that our candidate that we had for the officer position has washed in the process. So we'll be going to our next candidate down the line, so we will have to initiate the background check with that individual. If they make it all the way to a start date, that's going to put the start date probably off into May. Realistically, early May, very late April.
Anyone have anything else on that?
I do, I have a question about the report. So it seems to me like there's a decent trend going down of stops, tickets, calls. Is there any idea of reasoning for all of that?
No, part of it, are you talking on a monthly base or annual total?
The annual totals for the most part.
I talked with the former chief before he left on this. He was noticing that this was going to be, that the curve looked like it might be flattening out a little bit. I think from a realistic standpoint, that could be an anomalous year. You occasionally have a year where things just dip down. Could be a combination of just the number of calls you get, could be weather at particular peak times of the year. There's a number of factors that go into it. I wouldn't read too much into it until we really have a trend. It's just a single year dip in the stats. But if we get into closing in on the end of 2019 and we're seeing that the trend is going the other direction or it's starting to level off, that'll be part of the discussion when we talk about department staffing going forward. So then I've had some discussions with the interim chief as well on this topic. I think it's an issue of it's leveled off or gone down a little bit, but that could be an anomaly, just outside the normal trend. I think we need another year or two of data before we can reach those types of conclusions.
I'm trying to pull up the graph now from the police report. Was that just a month by month report, or was that year to date?
There's a year to date, I think is the first one, and then right behind it is a monthly total, so you have a calls for service.
Traffic stops, incidents handled.
But most of the graphs are this month compared to last month, or the same month in the previous year. Because there tends to be some seasonality to calls and types of calls. But you will be getting this spring, especially once the new chief gets on board, a presentation basically on previous year call load, type of call load, and the annual workload study and coverage study that will basically prep the council for any discussions related to staffing coming into the budget, so.
Anyone else have any follow-ups? All right. Fire department, no news, I'm assuming.
No.
Engineering. Community development. We have the planning commission minutes. Renee's not here. Any additions?
No, just as you see from the minutes, there will be some action items coming forward to the council at the meeting on the 28th, so.
Parks department. We had the minutes. Anything further on that?
Nope, it's actually been relatively quiet. Mark's been out of state and won't be back until week after next, so.
Okay.
And it is the slow season for parks anyways, so.
CCEC.
The next meeting is on Tuesday or something like that, so.
Okay. When's the Easter egg hunt again?
On the 13th of April.
April 13th, okay.
Remind me, Tom, to grab that costume, will you?
It's right in front of
Okay,
our store.
perfect.
Other committee reports? Scale?
I went to the housing workshop
Yeah.
meeting. That was very informative, a lot of discussion. Trying to put together some type of maybe employer, I want to say assistance, but not really assistance, kind of housing. Maybe the bigger companies in Scott County, so it's pretty interesting, actually.
That's cool.
I haven't really said anything, but at the Scale meeting on Friday, I was elected vice chair of Scale, so.
Congratulations!
Thanks, more work.
Big day for you.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, the report was just on the city of Jordan and their schools, not the city of Jordan, but specifically the school district. Anything else I'm skipping over?
We had the discussion on the drug court.
Oh, yeah, we
Which
did have
is-
a drug court panel, which, was interesting. I don't know how interested you are in hearing about that or how it works, but.
The concept is that, as you all are probably aware, that once people get into the system, there tends to be a high degree of recidivism. They keep coming back into the system. And you look at the stats, if you look at a lot of the crime that's committed, it usually has some basis in substance abuse is related to it. And the impact, not just related to those individuals, but the families and the people around them, tend to create multi-generational problems because of the environment it creates. And the idea is a concept that was developed under Janet Reno, actually. She was the first one to establish this, but it's a concept that's continued to grow and spread across the nation, where you take individuals that meet certain criteria. They can't be violent, and there are a couple other criteria, but they basically give them the opportunity to work their way out of the system. And it's related, for example, they have to take drug tests twice a week. They get certain
If curfews.
curfews and things like that, but as they continue to demonstrate sobriety and good behavior, they earn rewards, and then they gradually kind of basically work their way back into it. And what they found is that the statistics show the impact of people that have successfully completed these programs and where they are, and the degree to which they continue to stay out of the system once they're out. If you look at the cumulative costs over years or a lifetime for those individuals, the savings are immense. And it was interesting to hear the prosecutors that were in the room and their experience with this, and how they talked about their skepticism when the idea was first presented to them, and then the data that convinced them that, okay, we should be open-minded to this, and then their experience afterwards. It's shown to be a really successful program, so it was really interesting to hear about.
Sounds like an amazing program, actually.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, MBTA,
Next one's April 10th.
okay. I-35.
I sent the legislative report, which the agenda had a lot of that on there. Hornstein was there, the transportation chair. I didn't get to go because I was up at the Capitol for some other stuff, but I figured the bulk of it was the legislative stuff and updates. So.
All right. Chamber of Commerce, there's no one here from the chamber tonight. I don't know if there's a big update unless there's anything you can think of.
Thank you for attending, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate being invited. No Downtown Improvement Committee, discussion by council.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Timron,
Second.
someone,
Second.
second by Supersod, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.